The African Union has criticized the EU's decision to exclude an Indian-made vaccine from its pandemic travel program. Covishield isn't on Europe's list of approved vaccine for its Green Pass, a digital certificate meant to ease travel within the bloc. Covishield is a version of AstraZeneca's coronavirus vaccine that's widely distributed in Africa and manufactured by the Serum Institute of India. The European Medicines Agency says the only AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine with marketing authorization in Europe is Vaxzevria, which is made in the UK. This means Africans who have been inoculated with Covishield could be asked to quarantine or take more tests, increasing travel costs to Europe and within the bloc. Canadians, though, have been exempted from the same restrictions. On Thursday, 9 European countries lifted the Covishield restrictions for travelers from India, where millions of doses have been administered. Gonzalez Casares is a member of the European Parliament and spokesperson for the Socialist Party on issues to do with vaccines. He joins me from Brussels. Thanks a lot for making our time. How do you respond to the African Union's concern that the Green Pass could lead to discrimination against African travelers and other nationalities with the Covishield vaccine?
And this is not a precondition to enter the EU. Really, the digital green certificate for COVID is an agreement among 27 member states of the EU for traveling into the EU that recognize all the vaccines approved by the European Medicines Agency, and every country can say that also accept vaccines approved by the WHO. But I want to say that first, it's not a passport. It's not a passport for entry the EU. It's a scheme for traveling into the EU that also considers a PCR negative test or have the disease in the previous 6 months.
But then how do you explain why Canadians who have received the same Covishield vaccines manufactured from India are exempted from this rule? The majority of Africans have been inoculated with Covishield. And so if Covishield is not on the list of the accepted vaccines for the Green Pass, they obviously cannot enter into the European Union.
Digital certificate is for traveling into the EU among the 27 member states. Do you know that some countries of the EU, for example, Spain, where I am, we accept this vaccine for entry into our country? Okay, this is not a precondition. Every country of the EU has the possibility to decide what vaccines accept. And in this case, we accept, for example, in some countries of the EU for entry into the country, we accept all the vaccines approved by the WHO. I want to say, again, that is not a passport. This is not a passport. It's a scheme of traveling into the EU.
I just want you to clarify to our viewers whether African travelers or travelers from other parts of the world who have been inoculated with Covishield can enter into the European Union, say, tomorrow.
Tomorrow you can enter, for example, as British people, because, for example, British people need quarantine in some cases. So this is not a discrimination of the African people and not other parts of the world. But of course, to enter in the digital certificate that is said before a scheme for traveling into the EU, you need all the approval of the European Medicines Agencies, or in some cases, the approval of WHO. So, for example, as I said before, not only Spain, also other countries are recognized. For example, Ireland, Slovenia, Estonia are also recognizing the Covishield vaccine for entry into the EU.
Basically,
it's a decision of every country. It's a decision of every country.
Okay, so basically you're saying that it was a consensus to not include Covishield on the list of the accepted vaccines in Europe, and that it really doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. That's what you're saying, basically.
No. I don't say this. I say that for traveling into the EU, 27 member states with different schemes at the beginning of the pandemic, at the beginning of the vaccination, we had an agreement for traveling to the EU because it was very difficult to travel also from a member state to another. So we make an agreement for traveling, or have a scheme for possibility of traveling into the EU that considers all the vaccines that have been approved for the European regulator. The European Medicines Agency made a rolling review for some vaccines, and in these vaccines are the 4 that we are using here. But every country can decide to accept all the vaccines that are under the scheme of the WHO. In this case, Covishield, for sure, is going to be accepted for entry into the EU in some member states. But this is a national decision of every member state, because I want to separate the entry for outside the EU than traveling from a member state to another into the EU.
So African countries argue that they would have bought the EU-approved vaccines, but there weren't any available for sale. Is this yet another case of unequal access that will make the coronavirus pandemic endemic in some of these countries?
I want to say first that, for example, this European Parliament called for a broad distribution of the vaccine to all the countries in the world. And also we call for open the license. I think this Parliament is not a discrimination. It's not making discrimination for every part of the world. In any case, we want all the travelers for every part of the world with vaccines and also without vaccination if they have a negative test, PCR. So for us, we are working to create a new scheme for entry from outside the EU, but it's not a discrimination for other countries.
Gonzalez Casares, a member of the European Parliament and the spokesperson for the Socialist Party on issues to do with vaccines. And that's Africa Matters. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.